there's an argument raging right now on Twitter /X, whatever you prefer to call it. And what they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is whether or not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are canonically black.
Yeah. Here's why this is happening. A TMNT fan, I can't imagine what kind of hate they're receiving right now. They had the gall to post some fan art drawing the Turtle Boys in the style of Spider-Verse, and also, I think, gender swapped them. And 3 of them are black. I think Leonardo is white.
Yes.
Or Leonarda. I don't know. And someone quote tweeted this.
I'm not gonna lie.
Aren't they canonically black? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Leonardo, as you say, like I think it is Leonardo rather than Leonardo because it's giving Ariel Scarcella vibes in the photo. A little bit. Looks a little bit like Ariel Scarcella. I just think that this is an unbelievably ridiculous thing to talk about. It really is. It's
and I was like, are they canonically black? Like I thought about it a little bit when we were watching the TMNT Mutant Mayhem, how they had like one black voice actor for one of the turtles and then the other ones were white.
So this is based off of a Boom Studios comic crossover from like last year in which the Power Rangers crossed over with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and they project an image that shows them as black.
And that's the official canon in these people's minds.
Yeah, so
if
what
you
it is
throw
here,
them a bone, they will bring it up as often as possible.
Here's the thing: when people talk about canonical, when they talk about things being, and here's the image, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see an image from the thing, you can see them there. The reason they do this is because it's all about conquering the culture. It's about changing something that once was one thing and making it another thing for the sake of Marxist style revolution of all that mattered to your culture.
If there is a property this old, this is like 40 to 50 years old at this point, I don't consider anything post maybe 2015 to be canon.
Yeah.
It's not done by the original creators. It was done by activists.
A comic being made in the year 2022 doing this screams of pandering to identity politics obsessed weirdos, and you share with us some of the people's responses to finding this out.
Yes. Someone said, it's official and canon that every member of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in their human forms are all black teens. Holy F, I'm gonna go cry because at first they only showed Mikey and Donnie, but now Raph and Leo are too. This panel from Boom Studios comic crossover with the Turtles shows them choose their true form. Holy F, the feelings of joy I have are overwhelming right now. My turtle boys are all black like me. My turtle boys are black. Crying emoji, crying emoji. I am a blubbering, sobbing mess with a constant stream of tears over this. And it's just the best feeling, but I can't even see at the same time.
It might prove my argument wrong. When I told Mary earlier in the year, I said, for the next 10 years, Hollywood needs to do no human characters and just animals, because that way we won't have to worry about the race of characters.
Their brains have been broken so badly that you can't escape the race conversation with anthropomorphic characters.
Nope, you can't do it at all.
Even when you have a character that is literally a blob of water, it will be non-binary coded.
It's non-binary water.
It doesn't even have genitalia. It's a blob of water.
Like Barbie.
And you're not allowed to just have turtles because that would just be too bland. It would be too fun for the people who actually love these properties. People who love identity politics love to read into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
At Boom Studios, y'all just don't understand how much this means to me and so many other people. I cannot thank you enough for helping me and others feel seen.
So we solve racism.
Need to feel seen?
That's exciting.
It's solved.
You need to feel seen because mommy and daddy did not make you feel seen.
Yeah.
Period, point blank.
And it's just funny. I really do believe that it really comes down to it's about destroying the culture. It's about taking everything you loved from your childhood, taking everything that mattered to a society at one time. Doesn't matter how vague and random the cultural touchstone was. It's about, it's why they tried to pretend like the pencil shading of April O'Neil and the big 80s hair made her black in the old Eastman and Laird panels, which even though both of the people who created Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have said multiple times, no, she is not. Her name is named after a mixed race woman that one of them dated, but was not black. She was Asian. It's not true. It's done to keep people fighting. It's done to give these people who are obsessed with identity politics and obsessed with Marxism to give them something to hold on to. If it was actually about representation, it would be about new characters.
You know, I look back to the late 60s when Captain Kirk and Uhura had their interracial kiss, and that was a major moment in history.
Yeah.
That was a first or a second in television. Like, it just didn't happen. And I look toward our culture today, and all we see are, interracial, marriages. I mean, it's such a vastly different world. Why do we need these micro moments to make us feel better? It just seems like such an odd thing. Like, back then it mattered. It was important. It was so it mattered to society. But to lean into this, and a lot of this is performative. It's like, oh my God, I'm blubbering. It's a lot of nonsense. But
Like,
why?
are you really?
Yeah,
Because if you are, I'm worried about you. But
yeah.
I think you're just performing that for clout on social
There's
media.
a lot of that too. But why even the need for it? The hunger for it? I mean,
They're turtles.
Like, there have been black figures in pop culture for decades and decades.
Yeah.
I mean, the combination of, like, MLK Jr., Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy, like, you could count them all together. That's not enough. You have to make the turtles black.
Yep. You have to change everything.
I'm not seen until the turtles are
Like I said,
You don't feel seen until then.
They changed April in the new movie, and then they pretend like we wanted to make her more relatable. What does that actually mean? It doesn't mean anything. They wanted.
It's more relatable because she's fat and ugly like you guys. Like,
That's right.
it's almost insulting.
Yep. It's all unbelievably stupid, and I would say I'm sick of it. But like this stuff is uniquely Twitter. This is Twitter X. This is terminally
Pronouns in bio.
terminally online behavior, but it speaks to why these topics matter. Why does it matter? Because it was culturally relevant. You could talk to anyone my age and they will know something about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's a powerful bit of culture to be able to wield. Something that mattered that much to that many people.
They've already been depicted in human form, by the way. There was like a screenshot of the TMNT as humans in a Nickelodeon show from like probably not that long ago, the 2010s or something, where they're white kids. And no white people were on Twitter saying, my turtle boys are white like me. I'm crying. Like, it wasn't a big deal then. And it wasn't official canon when that happened, but it's official canon now.
Yeah. They need to. It's why I'm annoyed that they don't do more with the characters they have and creating more characters. It's because the IP farms that are Hollywood studios aren't willing to wait for these new franchises to become culturally relevant, right? First of all, they're having a hard time making new things culturally relevant anyways, which is why they keep going back to the old stuff, right? They want the member berries. They want the stuff that's built into it, but they're not willing to use the ones that actually work. They're only willing to change because, one, the worst of the worst are just glad because it leads towards revolution. It's about destroying your culture. The less worse, but just money hungry are just doing it because they think it's an easy way to make a quick buck.
Did you watch the Mutant Mayhem movie?
I didn't see it, no.
Okay. I thought it was really good. I'm not like a fan of TMNT, so I'm not judging it in comparison to the other movies. Brett said it's a good movie, but not a good TMNT movie,
That
which
is
is
true.
It loses on a technicality, but I think it was great. And I wouldn't have expected that from Seth Rogen. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, how much do you think representation matters in entertainment? Like, are you willing to cede that, sometimes it matters for little kids to see people who look like them?
Yeah, no, to a certain degree, sure. Like I mentioned, like in the 1960s, if you turn on the TV and everyone's white and you're a black child growing up in a city and you don't see yourself on TV, then that does matter. And we've heard stories over the years of middle-aged to older actresses of color saying those stories and saying,
Well, what
oh my
about in
gosh.
this day and age?
I think it's wildly different. I mean, we go to these extreme lengths to say, well, it's the first female superhero movie, Wonder Woman. Well, we had Supergirl, we had this, we had that. It's this weird flex to kind of go to these places. I think our culture has been diversified in such a wonderful way that it doesn't seem necessary. It just doesn't to me. I don't know. Again, I'm the white guy. Maybe that's my misperception. But I see so much change. I see so much progress. And you know, to me, I would get upset if an actor of a certain background was not accepted, was denied a job, of being punished because they're black, because they're gay, because that upsets me. And that's legitimate. And that's something we should all work to stop. But this whole whole representation game is just, you know, most of all, it's exhausting. I can't imagine living like that. Yeah. Oh my God, the Turtles, I love them, but gosh, if they're only black like me, who thinks like that? It just seems like, how do you live your life? There are so many film critics who will review a movie and then count up the people of color or say, well, the villains.
That's literally what that topic we were just covering. Yeah. That's what that group does. The USC Annenberg Initiative. That's literally their job.
And you know, that's literally their job. And I cut them some slack because it's giving us data. It's giving us a service in a sense. And you could agree, disagree. But when you're a film critic, this is a great example. Jim Gaffigan made a movie a couple of years ago. It was about a father and son. It was all this dysfunction. And he read some reviews about it. They might have been talking to Joe Rogan. And he said, some of the critics didn't like it because it was about a father and son. And they said, why wouldn't it be about a daughter, a mother and daughter? And like, because it's not.
Because that's not what this story is.
That's not what the story's about.
And that's really all. Like, if they let these directors make the movies they wanted to make, all they have to say is like, that's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
You can tell that story. I'm telling this story.
And go tell a mother-daughter story. That's wonderful. That's not this movie. Yeah. And why can't you enjoy this movie on its own terms?
Dust in the Wind says Tom Cruise is the last samurai. Yes, but Ken Watanabe defended that portrayal, so he's allowed. He's allowed to do that. I will say, I do think there's an argument to be made that as somebody who is white and grew up in America, that there is a blind spot there. It's like, look, you did grow up seeing most characters look like you, so you can't really quantify to the level of somebody else what they're feeling, but it does feel like it's been overdone.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. But it's so exhausting that, like, could we at least keep it to human characters? Maybe if we could just keep it to human characters, it wouldn't feel like we're going off the rails here.
And often it interrupts the story. There was a movie a little while ago called A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks. Yeah. And it's a remake of I don't know, it's a foreign film. I'm not sure what the country of origin was. But it's about this guy who's set in his ways. He's older. He's cranky. He's from the old school across the board. And then the movie introduces a trans character. And Tom Hanks's character is accepting of this character. They become friends. And I'm thinking, that guy wouldn't be so instantly accepting of a trans person. Just wouldn't. No. It doesn't mean that you should be mean to a trans person, but it doesn't make sense. But they wanted to put a trans person in the movie. That's where they shoved that character in, and it didn't flow with the story. That's the kind of stuff that bugs me as a critic.
Not even necessarily that he would refuse to be friends with or associate with someone who's trans, but not even a questioning of it.
Yeah, or the awkward scenes, or I'm confused, or whatever.
You know.
Hollywood did more good in the 80s and the 90s by just allowing people to kind of learn to exist together on screen than they're doing now.
Yeah. I think the 90s were better than the 80s. I think there was still some significant bigotry going on, or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't as evolved. I think the 90s were far superior.
The 90s did a really, really good job of just letting people exist on screen. Like I said, when we were watching Rise of the Beasts, and there's this discussion that's going on in the movie that's racialized and stuff like that. There wasn't as much of it, but even the capitalism line from the one character who would have never said that in the 90s, like, they don't understand what made the 90s work.
Yeah.
Why it was so special. Like, why? Like, I was talking to someone, they used people of all races, creeds, and colors back in that time period. Not necessarily the guy who was the dad from Family Matters. What was the dad?
Was it Reginald Van Johnson?
He's the guy. He's the cop. Is he a cop? Who's the one who's the?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But he was also the cop in Die Hard.
Die Hard, yeah.
But it's saying it was what it was, and we were much better off when it wasn't shoved in your face. They haven't learned their lesson. It's why I hated Justified City Primeval so much, because they made race a huge part of the discussion right off the bat, and it didn't need to be there. Yeah. They have great scenes with what is the actress? The actress in that show. There's a black actress in the show. She's phenomenal. She doesn't get a lot of screen time, but when she does, like at least in the early seasons, and they do a scene where basically she has him come along with her to talk to people in Harlan, because she says basically it's like, oh, they're all very polite when you meet them, but then when the cuffs come out, the racial slurs start being said, and that was done really, really well at the time, because she's not looking at him like he's a bad person because he came from that place. Right? It's done with nuance, it's done with care, and that's a show that has families that have Confederate flags all over their houses.
Yeah.
Right? Somehow they did it better in 2010 when they weren't focusing on it as heavily as they do now, when it's the forefront of every discussion they have. Erica Tizell, that's her name. That's the actress's name.
By the
She's
way,
fantastic.
I remember rewatching. It's such a great movie. I could watch it again right now. Silence of the Lambs, and it's about this young female FBI agent, Clarice Starling, and she's the hero. But they show the sexism within the FBI in such subtle but beautiful ways. There's one scene where she walks in the elevator and everyone behind her is a dude. Everyone behind her is much taller, and she feels so intimidated and so small. And it's just like just a little moment, like, okay, we got it. We got it. There's sexism there. She's a fish out of water. She's up against it. And and there's a couple other scenes just like that really show you the dynamic and what she's working with. And you don't have to give a speech. She doesn't get up and
Show, don't tell.
She's no girl boss.
Yeah.
But she also is the hero, and she also saves the day, and she's brave and she's strong.
But they
and
wouldn't
she
let
shows
her
what's
do that
going
now.
on.
They wouldn't let her be vulnerable now.
Yeah,
They wouldn't let her look scared.
Yeah.
The other was like, think about the X-Files. Gillian Anderson played a doctor who worked for the FBI. And that was somehow not seen as girl boss in any way, shape, or form.
Because she was real.
Yes. So all of it is very stupid, and the turtles are not humans anyways. So the discussion is dumb. It's dumb.
I mean, they're obviously Asian.
Exactly.
Wait, they're Irish. No, sorry.
Italian. They're technically Italian because they were
They like
named after
pizza, yeah.
Italian Renaissance painters, right? So
I love how this morning you were like, I have 5 words to say about this. This is effing stupid.
I didn't count beforehand.
This is
effing stupid. I didn't count. I had to add a word in there. So it's all,
really effing stupid.
or no, because what were we talking about recently? What movie were we talking about recently? Oh no, I'm sorry. I watched Twisted Metal, and Samoa Joe plays Sweet Tooth, but then they have Will Arnett do the voice. And I was trying to think of another example where that happens in a movie. And in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they had a different actor do Shredder's voice than actually played the character. So, but that happens in movies. I mean, I think
Vader.
like in the and or even like in the Scream movies, it's Roger L. Jackson does the voice on the phone.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yes,
That.
yeah.
We got
he's,
one from Rhaegar Targaryen. Okay, let's go. Street sharks are Mexican. SWAT cats are Chinese. Captain Bucky O'Hare is Samoan. All the Transformers are Japanese. Even Jazz. Animaniacs are Jewish. DuckTales are Latinx. Tailspin are Indian. Happy now?
Yes, I'm very happy now.
This is all canonical, so we're good.
It's
Official canon.
It's official canon.
You can't argue with that.
The reason why I bring up the word canonical is they use that as a dunk. Like every time they've retconned something in Star Wars, they're like, it's canon now. It's canon now. So-and-so got so-and-so like
Canon.
so-and-so like S'd another dude's D. It's canon now. He's gay. Take that, you
He
incels.
tossed his salad.
Take that, you incels. He liked it. He said it in the comic. He said he liked it. So, thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.